Okay, so we're going to apply this information to this graph, and I'm going to teach you guys how to do linear regressions using a scatter plot. Eventually, we're just going to use calculators, but you need to know how to do this for algebra. Okay, so I need to teach you the manual, like how to do it by hand, and then we'll do technical on your iPads. I don't think we'll get to that today. We'll see how it goes. All right, so there are steps. So step 1 is going to be to label the graph and plot the ordered pairs. Okay. So we're going to use this table here that's telling us how many people volunteered each day at an animal shelter. So it tells us that day is our x value. So down here on my graph, I'm going to write day for my x-axis, and then I'll fill in the days. And because the day only goes up to 8, I can go by single values, right? So you have to kind of look ahead at your increments and what your highest number needs to be. So then my y-axis is going to be labeled people. And I need that to go up to 20. I don't have 20 lines here, so I'm going to skip count by 2's. So I've got this fantastic graph ready to have some points on it. So then I'm just going to use my ordered pairs, and I'm going to plot these. So I scattered my plots. You can see that it's going in like a positive direction, right? We do have an outlier. Which ordered pair is our outlier? Chase? 19. Yeah, so on day 7, 19 people showed up to help volunteer. That's definitely an outlier. Okay, so one of the things you have to do when you're, then our next step is going to be to draw our trend line, right? Is to kind of ignore the outliers because we want the line to go with the trend of the rest of the data, right? So this is where you're going to need your ruler. So step 2, create a trend line. Does anybody know another name for a trend line?
Line of best fit.
Yep, the line that fits the best, right? So we'll say AKA line of best fit. Okay, you'll see it both ways. Trend line, line of best fit. It's talking about the line we're going to draw to best represent what's happening, right? So if I was going to draw my line of best fit, does anybody remember from the video, like how you decide where to put that line? What's your goal? Say again?
To get as many dots as I can close as they can
Yeah.
be each side.
Yeah, so it's not connect the dots. A lot of times I have students that want to just like connect the dot. Nope, that's not what we're looking for. We're going to create a straight line that is as close to as many points as possible. Notice I'm completely ignoring this outlier here because that's not a trend. That's an anomaly. That's something strange that happened on that day, right? So I'm going to try to draw my line. I'm not trying, it doesn't have to go through any of the points. I'm just trying to get it as close as I can to as many points as possible. So I might draw mine right here. And your line may not be exactly like mine, and that's okay. There's no, as long as it is close, right? As long as it's similar to my line, then I'm happy with that. Right?
I ended 22.
So yours might be a little too steep then, maybe? Right?
Would
Because we're really trying to stay close to these middle ones.
I started at 4 and ended at 20.
Yeah. TJ? Oh, that's right. I need to get your ruler.
I have one too. I don't have one. I used my binder and I'll work.
Got it.
I have this metal ruler at home, but it doesn't work because it's like indented. So when you put it down and you try to draw a straight line,
You get like little.
no, it's like you're drawing it, but it's like in like this, so it's never where you want it to be.
Oh, sounds like you need to get a new ruler. Yeah.
I should go to like.
I have a broken ruler that
Or a
is only good for
Go to
straight edge.
CVS.
TJ, you
Not
can
measuring.
use the yardstick.
Okay. So our next step is to determine the slope of the trend line. So this is where students kind of, it's a struggle because you want to use the points that are already on the graph. We're going to be ignoring those points. Okay? We're now just focusing on the line we drew. So the way to do that is to,
Find 2 points.
yep, find two perfect intersections. So when I say two perfect intersections, I'm talking about like this right here is a perfect intersection. It was not an original point, but I'm going to use it, right? This was a perfect intersection point. That's where my line went through. This one right here I'm going to use as well. Your two perfect intersections probably won't be the same as mine.
What if you didn't get to it all?
Wait,
Like, can you choose one that's like really, really close?
If it's really, really close, use that.
What if
Okay.
you didn't get any?
What?
Okay.
Okay.
on your graph, it goes up 3 and over 3 on like one of the points. You can kind of see it. Like,
Uh-huh.
and then the points that you pick, it goes up to like over
Oh, never mind. I thought they had to do dots.
Oh, no, not the point. If you're looking for spaces, like parts on, if you're just looking at the line now, right?
I got
So-
the same dose that you got.
I'm just going to use these 2 points. So what you're saying, Chase, is it looked like I could have done something different here? Like,
no, you have a different slope on 2 different
Girlfriend, what'd you get?
one.
Yeah. So just do the best, like whatever you decide to commit to, that's what you're going to use. Yep. So your slope may not be exactly like mine. We just have to be close, right? Okay, so my slope is going to be up 4. Remember, this is 2 increments. Guys, got to pay real close attention to the increments here. So my slope is up 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over 5. Right? Because this was up 2, 4. Right? This is 2 per
We don't
horizontal.
have the same one as you. Right?
That's okay. Again, our slopes are, when you do it this way, they're very rarely the same exact slopes.
You got the same one.
We have the same one.
Of course you did.
That's awful.
And then the next step is to identify the y-intercept. So I'm going to use 0, 7 because that's where it's closest to. Yours might be closer to 6, it might be closer to 8, maybe it's all the way down here at 5. Whatever you have, use that.
Mine's like exactly 8.
Okay.
Yes, it sounds over.
My y-intercept. 0, 7.
So then step 5 is to create the linear equation of the trend line. So I've got y equals mx plus b. So it's going to be y equals 4/5 x plus 7. Right. So this tells me that there's 4 extra people, approximately 4 extra people every 5 days that will come volunteer at the
Oh, I
shelter.
thought it was just people.
Well, the slope, remember, is comparing the change in y and the change in x, right? So the next example I think will be a little bit more relatable. This one's kind of vague, right? But this was our goal. We did a scatter plot and we created a linear regression, right? So last class period I had students saying, well, when would I ever need this? So people that work for corporations, so there are some people whose job is to collect data and then make predictions based on how well or how not well they're doing, right? So let's say you work at Apple and they want to know, like, what are our sales projections? Well, they can look at previous releases of new phones and predict how many people will probably purchase the new iPhone 12, right? They can look at that. Maybe the what was their new PlayStation that just came out?
And Xbox.
PS5, right? So they look at their sales. They try to figure out how many can we anticipate selling? How much money can we anticipate making? Like, it's all connected, right? So this, as basic as this seems, it can get pretty complex in the real world per se. All right, turn this over. Let's go ahead and do this next one together. Get creative up here with my timer. Okay, so this one, we're talking about the mileage in thousands of miles and the selling price of a used automobile. Okay, we did this last class, and it turns out I would have to pay somebody to buy my car. It was like, that's how little. Well, my car is so old, it's worth nothing. And then when we calculated it, it was I would have to pay somebody to take my car because I got a negative value
Oh,
That's not.
in my car.
My dad has the new Jeep Gladiator. It kind of looks like it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go through the steps. We're not going to write them out. We're just going to go through them. So somebody tell me, what's my x-axis title going to be?
Mileage.
Mileage. And don't forget to write thousands,
Wait, what?
right? Because it's thousands of miles, right? It's not just 22 miles. It's 22,000 miles, 14,000 miles, 18,000 miles. Okay, and I'm going to go by threes for this because otherwise I won't fit all the values. And then my y value is going to be the price of the car. And again, this is also in thousands of dollars. Right? Because in theory, the more mileage, the older the car is, right? So that's why your car becomes less valuable.
What do you mean, like the
So when you're driving a car, there's an odometer that keeps track of how many miles you have actually driven on your car ever. So, like, my car has 160,000 miles on it.
that bad?
I mean, it's a
thought
lot,
that's the amount of miles you
but
have left.
I've also been the only owner. Like, I bought it, it had like 12 miles on it. It's magical.
My
Smelled
grand-
really good. It was great.
My sister's car has like 300,000 miles on it.
I believe it.
I thought like the amount of miles means you have like the amount you have left.
Yeah.
So there's another thing now that fancier cars have that'll tell you how many miles you have left until you need to refill your gas tank.
Or until you need to recharge.
Or maybe
Oh.
recharge if you have a
Oh,
super
Oh,
fancy car.
I just realized.
I don't think I'm ever going to have the recharge
My
monitor on my car.
my aunt and uncle have a Tesla, and they came over to visit. And
Did you
yeah,
drive
it's
it?
cool, but the fact that you have to sit there and wait for an hour to 30 minutes and have it charged, so annoying.
Yeah, that doesn't seem ideal. I agree.
Yeah. My cousin, we went up to Chicago. I have a lot of
Unless you
family up there.
super,
And my
unless you
cousin,
supercharge it.
he
that
has
can
a
ruin
he has a
the
YouTube
battery.
channel. He has I think like 22,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And he what he does on it is he does like cars and stuff. So he has a 1992 Honda Civic, and what he did is he redid like the whole engine. It cost him like $2,000.
Probably.
The whole engine. And then he put a turbo in it, which cost like another $1,000. And then now it's like extremely fast. And also what he did is he ripped out like his entire like backseat interior. So it's basically a tin can with an engine in it. That's what he calls it. And it has like 400 horsepower.
So people like followed him to watch him do this whole process.
Yeah, and then and then it has 400 horsepower. So he took me on a ride and we went fast in some places. It was
like-
so much fun.
Like Fast and Furious.
So that's the same thing I did with my scooter. Like
Yeah, you go.
Okay, back to the graph. So step 2, remember, is to plot all of our points. So I'm going to go through here and plot these.
Wait, what?
Oops, oopsies. We're going to go by 2s for the prices. Sorry. So after I have my y-axis labeled with my increments, I'm going to go ahead and graph these. So So you can see very clearly that the price starts to decrease the more miles you have on it.
You think there's a way you can just remove all the miles?
No.
So
I think there is.
the amount of miles you have on it, that means like once it says 0, your car doesn't work.
Nope, so
doesn't
it just
go
counts
down,
up.
It goes up.
It just counts up. So the counting back thing is like when you would have to go get more gas. So like I do have that on my car. I'll say like 35 miles till empty.
So let's say, can your car like, even as with gas, can it just stop at like the miles or something? I thought the miles go down every time.
No, you're continuously adding
That's exactly what
miles.
I thought. I thought the amount of miles you have left, like a car that has like very few miles is not a good car to get.
Yeah.
No, that's a car that's barely been driven. That's a good car.
like that's.
Like you should get a new Tesla truck.
Yeah, I'm putting gas in it.
Okay, so remember our next step then was to create our trend line. So I'm going to draw mine as close to as many points as possible.
And so you gotta make sure every point is like 3 because we counted up by 3s.
Right, so when we then create our own perfect intersections, so like I'm going to use this one, and I'll use this one because this is pretty much a perfect intersection. So this is going to be down 2.
You see me.
I'm sorry, that's going to be down 4 because those are each worth 2. So -4, and then 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18.
Well, if it starts at 0, you can just look at the number instead of count.
Chase it.
So then I can simplify this to about -1/5, right?
Wait, what?
About.
Because this would if this was a 20, this would be, right?
Is that what the swivelly equal sign means?
Yep. That's our about symbol,
Oh, very cool.
right? So if you can get it close to like a nice even number, right? So it doesn't look so bad,
How'd you get 20? Oh, never mind.
right? Because these are each worth,
In 2nd grade, I didn't know what that symbol meant, and I used it as my equal sign. My teacher never counted me wrong, but I used it.
she probably thought you just had bad handwriting.
Or because you were in 2nd grade.
I bet she, or because you're in 2nd grade. But she probably just thought like, oh, he's just having trouble writing that symbol.
He just did.
I can't imagine she thought,
Silly.
wow, Chase knows what that means. I should talk to him about it. I wouldn't have it as a 2nd
Well, I
grade.
got it in advanced math after 2nd grade. So
Oh, maybe that was what you needed.
6th grade.
Okay, so my y-intercept is 20. Yours might be slightly different depending on where you drew your
I got
trend line.
-4 over 30.
I got 2 over 9.
I got 21.
So,
You got 21.
I got 21.
What, okay, really quick. So really this should be down 6 then, because this point, because you need it to go 2, 4, 6, right? So if you had -6 over 30, what are you going to get?
get 1/5.
Yeah.
What?
You just like the algorithm one.
Okay, so my equation of this trend line is going to be negative 1/5 x plus 20,
So tired.
right? So let's talk about what this actually means in respect to this whole situation, right? I've got my slope here. What does the negative 1 stand for? What do my y values stand for?
Your
Price.
price.
So minus $1,000 every
5,000 miles.
every 5,000 miles. So
Saying, well, about 5,000 miles.
yeah, this means the car is worth
And this the
$1,000 less.
Does the plus 20 mean you bought it for?
Like it started.
Yeah, it started at $20,000. So this means the car is worth $1,000 less for every 5,000 extra miles driven.
Too tired for this stuff.
Before my dad had his Jeep truck, he had a normal Jeep, and he put a diesel in it, and it didn't run.
You
It
don't
kept
know.
breaking
What
down.
is a diesel?
What is
It's a type of engine that requires a type of gas.
You should see my dad.
And it's really loud.
It's very loud. It sounds like a boat. Okay, so this is what I did with the other class. We used this to predict how much my car is worth now. Okay, my actual car. So I'm going to use this slope and what my car started at for the price. And what is x going to be? What am I going to put in for x?
Your price. No, your miles on your car.
My miles on my car, right? So if I have, so I'm going to take negative 0.2 because that's what this slope is. So negative 0.2 times, my car has 160,000 miles on it, equals, plus, my car costs $38,000. Oh, this one actually has me making money on my car.
Well, you know, if you
I
go to
don't
the
think
Sisters
you're
of
even
Saving, they'll pay you money.
I was
Even
told
if
to
you
go
have
to,
tow it in.
I was also told to go to We Buy Any Car, is what someone said
We
last
buy any
class.
car.
It's the sister.
We buy any car.
.com.
We buy any car.
I'll give you more money because I'm at negative 1.
We buy any car.
No,
Okay.
no, did you
Hey,
know there's
say
a
bye
car-
to Ani and Layla and Elise. Say bye.
No.
Say bye.
More things.